Hello everyone and welcome to another Tuesday edition of Tuesday Morning Shenanigans. I am Aaron of the Rave Corner and we are filming inside Maui Comics and Collectibles. Joining me is YouTube personality and special guest Blu-ray Whoreder. How you doing?
Good, buddy. It's finally nice meeting you in person.
Oh, absolutely. We've been talking a whole lot on social media through messages and complimenting each other's stuff. So it's a pleasure to finally have you on board and doing this with me.
Awesome. It's a pleasure.
Now, your YouTube channel is youtube.com/Blu-ray Whoreder. And for those who haven't seen your channel for the first time, please tell them what it's about.
It's all about movies, Blu-rays. I've been collecting Blu-rays when they first came out. 2000, I believe it was like 2005, 2006, and I really built up a collection. It exceeds probably 4,000 Blu-rays with additional 2,000 DVDs, so over 5,000 films.
Yeah.
So I have a whole room dedicated to that, and the reason why I started the channel is, you know, I'm just doing searching for various collections on YouTube, and I didn't know there was such thing as a Bluetooth community,
yeah,
so to speak. And I just filmed my first video. I was off camera just filming my collection. I got a lot of hits, a lot of views.
Oh, right.
And so now I have my own, so to speak, weekly podcast that we do retro topics like top 25. So I recently did top 25 retro video games. So our shtick is everything before the year 2000. And every week it could be stuff like top 25 horror films, anything to do with films, superheroes, that type of stuff.
And so for the most part, though, it's been highlighting your collection, but most of the videos are just what haul you have of the day.
Correct.
Instead of actually doing the review.
Yes. So, you know, I'm not very good at reviewing movies. It's just I have so many, and for me to, even my favorite movie, I haven't watched more than maybe 4 or 5 times, where people watch, you know, their favorite movie hundreds of times.
You know, admittedly, I have to say that doing a movie review would be tough because you do have to sit through an entire length of it, maybe jotting down notes if you can get that sort of thing going, and then you have to dwell upon them and say, is this really good enough to actually mention? And then that's where your whole speech comes into play.
Yes.
But even with the movies in general, you also have done some contest giveaways with the Blu-rays. I have seen some.
Yes, and every time I hit a milestone in subscribers, whether I think when I hit 100 subscribers, I did a contest with just giving back to the community. So those that view my videos and those that comment and give me the support, it's just like giving back to the community. So I'm not the one who originated it, but you know, I just feel when you hit certain milestones, it helps your channel grow, but it's just giving back to people that really, you know, motivate you to keep going.
And what's the process like? Do you get hundreds of entrants and then you have to take a moment to just narrow it down to maybe your top 5? Top 10 maybe?
As far as entrants, I think the most I've got is about 20 to 30. It depends on the prize itself. You know, if people are like, oh my god, a $50 gift card. One time I did do a $50 gift card to Amazon, and I got a lot of people. But for me now, I opened it up to anybody. Anybody, even if they weren't a subscriber, they would subscribe just to get that, and I didn't want that, so I did kind of have certain rules that would qualify them.
It doesn't really manipulate the analytics part of things, where you think, oh, I gained this much, but at the same time, once the contest is over, they will leave.
Exactly, and come back maybe when you do another contest. So I wanted to filter that out a bit. There was rules. You have to be subscribed for at least, you know, a year or so, or you have to at least comment on my vids.
Yeah, so you have done movies, you have done gift cards. Was there a time where you actually wanted to give away maybe a vintage video game?
I personally don't have I want to re-get it, but I only have a PS4 right now.
Oh,
and so,
I see.
A lot of what we discuss is stuff that, you know, is reliving our childhood.
Yeah.
So after doing the video game episode, that makes me want to, buy a Genesis, buy a NES, and go to the local secondhand stores and or garage sales and get them for cheap.
But if you were to get started, let's say right now, which console would get your first priority?
Oh, it'd have to be NES.
The NES?
I never had a Nintendo system ever. I was pro Sega, pro Sony.
No kidding.
But I played most of them because my cousin had it. I had neighbors. But yes, not having a Nintendo is crazy.
Some will argue that the Super Nintendo is better than the first NES console.
The only reason why I oppose the SNES is, I don't know, I don't like the controller.
It doesn't fit very well in your hand.
I was so used to the blocking, and that goes with Xbox too. Maybe that's why I didn't go to Xbox, is because it's just weird. You're used to.
Sega Genesis also had that sort of curvy.
And I guess I just, that was my first system, so I just got used to it, and I was always like, dude, Nintendo sucks. It's all about Genesis, as a kid.
To be fair, Genesis did have better graphics. I think the Super Nintendo was running at 16, whereas the Genesis was maybe around 32 or 64.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, they try to add stuff like the 32X. I remember getting the Sega CD, and that was like cutting edge, but just way overpriced, and that only lasted about a year, and then they stopped making games.
There were times where I did envy the Sega Genesis players, because going back to games like the very first Mortal Kombat, right?
Yes.
In the Super Nintendo version, there were no blood. Instead, you get this misty green thing showing up on your screen. It's like, what is that, sweat that you knock off? But in the or snot. But the Sega Genesis, they actually include the gore in there, and even going back to the LJN old school WWF video games, they had characters in there that was never in the Super Nintendo version, and it made me want to get the system just to play them.
Yeah, I mean, if you're fortunate enough, I had a lot of friends that had both, but when you're not generating income and depending on your parents of buying you for both systems, that's like overdone. So
I did grow up with I wouldn't say thrifty parents, but they always had a very simple system where you can only stick to one.
Yes.
One console, and that's it. When it comes to toys, I can't get all of them, so I just have to catch them in their best mood, I guess.
Yep.
So going back to your movie collection, were all of them bought from you personally, or did you ever have fan submissions where they say, "Oh, we want you to have this in your collection because you do have mail coming in"?
I do, and a lot of that is trades. I'm not at that level where I have a fan base that are like, "Hey, let's build your collection." I wish. I hope that's the start of something, but it's more where I first started collecting. It was at secondhand, and I would just collect everything. It started with DVDs, so
yes,
you could get them cheap, like 5 for $20 back then. Now you can get them for $1, at a lot of places. So back then it was just, I need them all. It was just more of not necessarily movies. It was just the collecting, and hence my name, the Hoarder.
Yeah.
I just wanted a collection that I could file alphabetize, and have everything.
Right.
But as far as people sending me stuff, no, I've accumulated all this on my own. Okay, so now that you've obtained this really big collection of DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that kind of stuff, I was very impressed by the picture of your, dare I say, huge warehouse full of your you got to see it in person, man. You guys are invited. It's a whole room, so I would say...
How big is this room? Is it like your entire living room, or is it a separate
It's a separate
guest
bedroom.
room?
Yeah, it's a guest room. So I would say it's about half the size of this this place, but it's wrapped. So I have bookshelves just wrapped around, and it's not just Blu-rays. I got in the habit a couple years ago with Funko Pops. And I have over 200 Funko Pops, and That I just had to stop because they're making those.
Oh, the licensing
any character.
is just,
I wouldn't be surprised if they had one of the Rave Corner.
Yeah, it could be me.
Yeah, it's just everybody, every TV show, every movie. I couldn't keep up.
Man, kudos to Funko because really they went.
I wish I would have thought of that.
They went really all out with their licenses, and anything you could imagine getting a Funko Pop, they've done it.
Yes,
like literally.
They done a Tupac and Biggie one that's going for like a couple $100
already.
Yes, and so I have a few rare ones.
Yeah,
because I started a couple years ago before it was really hot. Now it's just like everyone's saying that it might be like Beanie Babies where they overproduce it, that everyone has it and they lose interest. But I think it's different because these characters are relatable to music, to movies, to sports.
Yeah, and the Beanie Babies were just basically stuffed animals that were given their own original creative names. Yes. But this is of people, of characters. And even I like to go back to Big Trouble in Little China. Back then, there weren't that many figures that existed. But now, considering that Funko got the licenses and was able to produce not only Funko Pops, but also the reaction line, I mean, it's a safe bet that once everything goes out, who knows, they may skyrocket. I really don't know, but if I were to take a stab at it, it does give it does have potential if you were to ask me.
Yeah, the big thing right now is the one that are worth money or are going to be a lot worth money is the ones with the exclusive stickers. So whether it's Hot Topic, Comic-Con, there's various ones in specific stores that, or GameStop. I bought one from GameStop recently because I saw it on eBay for like $30 and they were only selling it for $8. So I was like, okay. Well, I mean, I know this is an interview about me, but like, do you have a movie collection? I know you're.
Yeah, I do. Okay. I do. Most of my movie collection, which will be displayed eventually, Raizu and I are working on a project, but I started collecting on the kaiju genre, but I made a big mistake of actually letting go of one that I absolutely didn't like.
What is it?
It was I forgot what it was called, but basically it was produced by a Japanese company. It was an independent company because nobody has ever heard of them. And the premise was it was about two dinosaurs who happened to show themselves. They were, I guess, underground this whole time, but due to some natural events, they happened to emerge and start fighting each other. One was like this brontosaurus thing, another one was like a pterodactyl. But they eventually clashed in the mountainous area, but they tied in a lot of things such as teens dancing to funky music because the swinging 60s were the hit back then. But it was just it was a story that I could not relate to, but
it's probably rare now, is it?
I wouldn't say that it's rare, but let's just say that after I gave it away for it was given for, I wouldn't say adoption, but it was what's the word I was thinking of? Donation. I donated it, but after I met with Raizu and we decided to do an episode where him and I will review kaiju movies, I thought, man, I wish I hadn't gotten rid of it. We're going to close the show now with the random question of the day. And my question to you is this. Would you rather sit through Glitter or Geely? The whole movie.
Wow. I would have to go with my girl Mariah Carey.
Really?
Glitter. Yes.
Yes. For me, I think I would rather sit through Geely because I guess I like watching mob dramas. So even though it's not a real mob drama, the fact that it's Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck, I guess it's something palpable.
Yeah, that's true.
But I remember sitting through Glitter and I was like, oh gosh, this is a little bit too rough, man.
To me, that's like a no-win situation.
All right, so that wraps up this show. But tune in next week where the Blu-ray Hoarder will be back once again to discuss movies that are so bad it's good. But big thanks to you for actually coming on to the show. And do check out his channel on YouTube at Blu-ray Hoarder. Also, big thanks to Maui Comics and Collectibles. Follow the store on Facebook and Instagram at Maui Comics. And if you love to see figure reviews, do check out the Rave Corner, whose link will be provided in the description below. There is Godzilla, Transformers, and all kinds of cool stuff. So click on the link, and I hope you do enjoy them. Until then, on behalf of me and the Blu-ray Hoarder, thank you for checking out the video.
Shoots.